The year is 2049. Humanity has been wiped out by a virus, leaving Earth an eerie, silent planet with no human life in sight. However, there are whispers in the wind, whispers of a time before the virus, before the world as we knew it ended. These whispers carry stories of love, loss, hope, and despair, fragments of memories left behind by the echoes of humanity. Join me as we explore these whispers, piecing together the fragments of the past to create a mosaic of the world that was. Our first whisper comes from an abandoned apartment building in what used to be New York City. The walls are covered in graffiti, the windows shattered, but inside the building, amidst the dust and decay, we find a diary. Its pages tell the story of a young woman named Sarah. She writes about her dreams, her fears, and the everyday challenges of living in a world that was slowly falling apart at the seams. Through Sarah's entries, we learn about the early days of the virus, how it started as a mere whisper in the media, a distant threat that people didn't think would affect them. But then the whispers grew louder, more urgent, and the threat became a terrifying reality. We see the toll the virus took on people's lives, how it upended their world and forced them into a desperate struggle for survival. Sarah's story is one of resilience, of hope in the face of despair. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure. Our next whisper takes us to a deserted playground. The swings are frozen in mid-motion, the slides are coated in dust, and the merry-go-round is silent. But here too, amidst the decaying infrastructure, we find a remnant of the past, a child's drawing. It's a simple picture, a child's rendition of a family playing in the park on a sunny day. But it speaks volumes about what was lost when the whispers became screams, and the laughter of children was replaced by the silence of the grave. We travel to a small town, its streets lined with boarded-up houses, its inhabitants long gone. But as we walk through the town, we hear the faint sound of music drifting from an open window. It's an old song, a melody from a time when the world was full of life and hope. And as we follow the sound, we find an old gramophone, its needle scratching across a worn-out record. And in that moment, we're transported back in time, back to an era when people danced to this very tune, oblivious to the darkness that was gathering on the horizon. Our final whisper brings us to a beach, its shores littered with debris, its waves crashing endlessly against the sand. Here, amidst the ruins of a world lost, we find a collection of letters. They were written by a soldier named John to his sweetheart back home. In his letters, he describes the horrors of war, the constant threat of death, and the longing for peace and quiet. He writes about the futility of war, the senseless loss of life, and the desperate hope for a better future. Through John's letters, we see the universality of the human experience. The fact that, even in the darkest of times, the human heart yearns for love, for connection, for a glimpse of light in the darkness. As we reflect on these whispers, on the fragments of memories they carry, we realize that despite the tragedy of it all, life still went on. People still loved, they laughed, they hoped, and in that realization, we find a measure of comfort. For even though the world as we knew it has ended, the echoes of humanity, the whispers of the forgotten, will live on forever. If you enjoyed this dark and thought-provoking story, please don't forget to show your support. Your support means everything to us. And if you want to be a part of our community, we'd love to have you join us. Until next time, may the echoes of humanity guide you, and the whispers of the forgotten inspire you. Thank you for listening, and may the memories of those who came before us serve as both a warning and a reminder.